Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible to you? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Malvika, a student of Sambhavam 2022 batch, and I am the introducer of today's class of History Optional. I welcome you all present here, and a very special welcome to Mr. Souvik, sir. I don't know what and how to introduce you, sir, because words are less. Like, I've never met a person or I've never seen a history teacher so flexible who is not only a teacher, but like an elder brother, like a friend who is always ready to solve not only the doubts and queries regarding the classes, but also our dilemmas and problems in this journey of UPSC. And this comes from experience. Sir has the experience of teaching for more than 7 years, and he has his experience in multiple different renowned institutes like Chanakya IAS, Exampur, Alvaz Foundation, etc. He has also appeared in multiple interviews like UPSC, WBPSC, Intelligence Bureau, Indian Navy, etc. Teachers don't just teach, they prepare us for the road ahead where their impact goes beyond the classroom. I still remember, sir, when you were taking the classes last year, and there was the background noise coming, and you so generously said, "Guys, please ignore the background voice, as there's a party at my home." Those lines were very simple, might be very straight, but very deep for me because those lines were the proof that how dedicatedly and with full of energy a teacher can teach for the students. All what he's doing is just priceless. And I still remember when you said the compensated classes. Why? Because you were ill and still you cares about our future, about our studies. And this is just priceless. By this, I can recall a quote which is well said by Dan Rather, and that is, the dream begins with a teacher who believes in you, who tugs and pushes and leads you to the next plateau, sometimes poking you with a sharp stick called truth. So, as we all know, this is the optional history class. I want to begin this class with a beautiful quote, and that is said by Arthur M. Schlesinger, and that is, it is useful to remember that history is to the nation as memory is to the individual. As a person deprived of memory becomes disoriented and lost, not knowing where they have been or where they are going. So a nation denied a conception of past will be disabled in dealing with the present and its future. Thank you, sir. You can begin.
All right. Brilliant. Brilliant. Today, the class is mostly to motivate you, those who have a deep passion, love for the subject history, those who are fence sitters, who are willing to join or they are not ready. They cannot decide whether to join history or not. These are to break certain myths and to motivate as to why you should be taking history as your optional. These are in a systematic approach. I will discuss about the syllabus, what is required, how we will continue with our journey and these kind of things. Our organization has decided that they will also add the element of optional. We have been growing for a while now and we have over thousands of students over the GS program. And it is mostly a charitable venture. We're trying to get to reach out to maximum beneficiaries with these intentions in mind. Let's see where it goes. First of all, the first kind of confusion generally the students have is regarding the bulk of the syllabus. They think that history is vast, history is full of facts and figures, and you need to mug up a lot of facts and figures in order to get good marks. Second rumor, misnomer is that it is not achievable. You cannot get a lot of marks. Trust me, when we were also preparing, I am myself from a technical background. We remember our days. when the general preference was public administration, general preference was history, was sociology and whatnot. Public administration lost their importance and PSIR took the case. In the recent times, you will see maximum students going for these kind of optionals. There is another factor known as normalization. Suppose a student from technical background, for engineering or medicine or mathematics, the marks they are allotted, they are generally normalized, and some subjects are given an additional point. Last I remembered that last I knew that geography had the highest factor for the component of normalization. Geography was a very popular subject. We are going to understand about history and what is going to be or how it is going to be beneficial. See, for the history optional, we will learn about the benefit of the history of optional. Number one, it is bulky. It is absolutely not bulky. Despite that, it is very much scientifically organized. There are specific number of events prescribed in your syllabus. You have to learn about them. You have to learn about the previous year's question papers, preferably last 20 years. If you do the last 30 years, 35 years, well and good. So this, every single question with 100% accuracy, it is predictable. In the recent trends, both for geography and history, map pointing, about 3-4 questions, topics are getting unpredictable. That is a sum total of 10 marks. But again, if with scientific approach, the entire subject can be done. Also, the misnomer that history does not produce toppers, it is completely false. Yesterday itself, before beginning with our journey for history optional, I was looking at the toppers and what did they have, what they have to say about history optional, about the success rate and all. We are learning about the reports published by the Public Service Commission. History has a sizable number of success rate, a number of students who take it as their optional, clear it through. So far, a number of students have become the topper. We have from history optional, rank 1 has also been produced. So it is absolutely nothing to fear of. It is completely scientifically designed, analytical in approach. It is definitely, there are ways those who fear about factual information have enough bypassing. There are mnemonics, there are tricks, tips with repetitions. These facts can be learned, and there can be, we are here with an intention to produce quality education. We plan to successfully attempt or be in a state where we'll be able to solve all the previous year's question papers or the question paper in hand with 100% accuracy. With this in our mind, we will learn about the approaches of history optional. See, for your history optional, there is a lot of carryover effect. These benefits are there with sociology. This benefit is there with geography and a number of other subjects. We are primarily going to be dealing with history, right? For suppose if you take history as your optional, definitely there is your general studies 1 you are aware of. In general studies 1, you will be taking the benefit definitely for modern India. The entire modern Indian questions that is generally dominating the mains these years. So naturally, modern India, all the questions, even the GS preparation, we have our older students. If you go through my notes of GS modern India, also I can assure you with 100% accuracy, you test yourself and go through the optional paper, you will be in a position to solve all the questions in your modern Indian syllabus. From your GS preparation, you can solve. That means that is a common factor. Next, there is the segment of art and culture. The entire segment of art and culture is directly from your history optional. Next is your Indian society. A number of elements within your Indian society is also a subject of history optional, especially the part that deals with post-independence. So here, the entire segment, roughly 100 plus marks in your GS1, that is primarily covered by under your history optional preparation. We'll make sure that you solve all the questions with accuracy. Suppose even before the general studies, there is the paper 1. Basically, general studies is your paper 2, right? There is your paper 1. Paper 1 will be your essay paper, right? Essay paper suggests that you are supposed to write essay on multiple topics. Conventionally, it was one topic. In the recent times, there are two topics. Maybe the UPSC may shift towards multiple topics. We are not sure. As of now, there are two topics. And mostly according to the recent trends, they are abstract concepts. So a lot of, to write efficient history, definitely for sure, there will be one topic will be directly with association with your history optional. Definitely for sure. If not that, the major content of your essay, be it anecdotes, different historical underpinnings, they are an effective tool of writing your introduction. Again, if there is abstract concepts regarding effective decision making, the theories such as, for example, Chanakya, for example, Gandhiji, for example, Aurobindo, for example, Immanuel Kant, they will definitely aid you in writing your essay paper. That is another benefit. Suppose you shift towards your paper 3, that is GS2, or your paper 3. Definitely the portion in your polity, we have to learn about the constitutional developments. That will definitely aid you in your certain portions of polity and governance. We cannot say it is completely on the basis of history optional, of course. And naturally, you have your social justice. That has certain connotations, association with regard to your history optional. Again, your post-independence development. For example, there is the international relations. For the international relations as well, the historical underpinnings. They are either a part of your post-independence or a part of your world history. That is, once again, will be directly coming from history optional. For example, NAM. For example, the European Union. For example, India's relationship with China. For example, India's relationship with Pakistan, India's neighborhood. All the historical underpinnings, they are known as determinants of foreign policy. They are also a part of your IR, directly coming from history optional. By the way, I forgot another element, or two elements rather, in your GS1, that is modern India, art and culture. There is post-independence. In the recent trend, it suggests definitely a 10 marker or a 15 marker will be coming from the paper. Here, another component is world history. Also with the recent trend, it seems that there will be one question, either 10 marker or a 15 marker question. Again, for example, from paper 3, you jump towards paper 4 or GS3. Again, there is dimensions regarding security, internal security. These are the developments in the post-independence India. They are basically the developments in post-independence that have a direct relevance for the same. Suppose we come to your GS4, you will get benefits because of the philosophy that will be taught regarding, suppose, Gandhiji. That is very much on the lines of idealism. The philosophies of Chanakya, that will be very much pragmatism. It will teach you the practicalities. Realism, it will teach you modern realism. Also the ideas of, suppose, Immanuel Kant. We will learn about so many philosophers and thinkers. For example, Rousseau, Voltaire, Montesquieu, Immanuel Kant, M.K. Gandhi, a number of Indian freedom fighters, Indian nationalists, and their views and opinions. That will be helpful enough also in your ethics and integrity paper. Right? So this is the entire benefit in your rest of the GS papers. If you make a holistic study of your history optional, it is going to have a carryover effect. And finally, there is the two optional papers. That is 250 marks by 2. There is a neat benefit of 500 marks. Roughly, it is said that there is a cumulative 800 plus marks. For sure, you will be directly getting from your preparation from history optional. That is why we also push for these subjects. If you have a holistic understanding of history optional, you will be able to solve more than 800 marks in your paper. What happens is that, suppose there is only 3 months lag. They have appeared for, students have appeared for their mains and waiting for their interview. Between prelims and mains, there is roughly 3 months of gap. Here they have to prepare for general studies as well as their optional. It is wise to choose subjects such as history that will have a carryover effect. Alongside you prepare your optional, a fair portion of your GS, the out of entire 1700 marks that you have to write, about 800 plus, that can be extended to maybe 900 or 1000, depending upon the exact trend of UPSC that year. That is the amount of benefit. That means the rest of the marks you have to prepare for yourself. That is the benefit of history optional. Suppose we learn about the basic overview about history as an optional, right? As an optional. We have learned about the benefits. Let us learn about, is it an easy job or a difficult job? Let us paint a big picture so that those who are willing to take it as a subject get everything that what they want to understand. Number one, when we say that history as an optional is scoring or not scoring, it is definitely scoring. It is the bad answers that are written that fetch bad marks, and the overall average of history gets deteriorated. If you know what to write, you will precisely have an understanding, you will know, and you will get the highest marks. If I remember it right, I saw an interview, a student, a 22-year-old, scored about 304 marks from JNU, if I remember it right. He was graduated from DU and then pursued his master's from JNU. That gentleman scored 300 plus marks. It does not happen anywhere. He scored, if I remember again, in the paper 1, he scored 120. And paper 2, he scored 180. This is the marks. Even if you normalize, 120 can be definitely made better, about 130, 140. And here 180 is very good marks. It can be at least 150, 160. Thereby you will be it is easy and making an average of 280 plus with the right approach. What is the right approach? Let us have a look. That means when we say history is not scoring, it is absolutely a misnomer. It is a false information. And we will make sure you all as a collective have that score. Once you clear the prelims, you should have all the elements to score this amount of marks. We'll try to ensure the same. Now see why history, also it goes for geography, is very, very easy to score that marks. See, history, it is divided into paper 1 and paper 2. For understand, history has no shock for those, if we make a comparative analysis. No subject is bad, no subject is good. We are not going to undermine any other optional. Nonetheless, for a qualitative understanding, as history takes the criticism from other optionals, you need to understand, for suppose PABAD, for suppose PSIR, they have a lot of dynamism, a part of it. In comparison, the history is very much predictable. There are only certain topics which have relevance with current affairs. Suppose again, in the next year, the Rampa Rebellion is going to be famous for their 100-year celebration. That means UPSC can ask regarding tribal rebellion with relevance to Alluri Sitarama Raju. The prediction and association with current affairs is only to this extent. If the government is celebrating about a Bhakti Saint Ramanuja, his philosophy, ideas, opinions can be asked. If the government talks about the Cholas, or it is celebrated, or any particular site is given UNESCO, a part of UNESCO heritage site, there will be a question in your history optional, but there will be no shock whatsoever. It is highly predictable and with 100% accuracy. I have my older students as well. With their preparation of GS, they can look into the previous year's question papers. There will be a fair number of questions from their GS preparation they can solve. For example, for modern India, the GS preparation is 100% essential for your optional. You have to do very little apart from that. Some chapters are there nonetheless, but you will be able to solve all the questions in your optional. For suppose ancient and medieval, it is roughly, plus art and culture, suppose it is roughly 30 to 40%, maybe more than that. You prepare for GS, it will have a carryover effect in your optional. For world history, it is roughly about 30 to 40%. That is similar to that your preparation for GS that will be carried over to your optional. So definitely it seems like a win-win situation. It seems like you will benefit from this venture. Now see, why am I saying the preparation process is rather easy? Suppose there is paper 1. You have to prepare your strategy. I'm not saying the strategy will be same for all. I'm talking about a simple strategy probably adopted by me. Let's take it for example. Here, paper 1 has 2 segments, ancient India and medieval India. See, here paper 1 has a mandatory map pointing. Some students get motivated with map pointing. Some students get extremely discouraged as to they cannot solve the map pointings. A very basic job is the analysis of the previous year's questions. With at least 60% plus accuracy, you will be solving it. That means the total marks allotted is 50 marks, 10 map pointings. 6 of them you will definitely have a clue from the PYQs. About 4 of them, it will need a lot of attention. That means the special students who have made conscious attempts regarding map pointing, they can solve. At any cost, it is very easy to solve get about 30 plus marks. It is extremely easy to get out of 50 to get 30 plus marks. If I'm saying if I've given due share of attention, it will be very close to 40 marks. It is very easy to rather. That means you have analyzed the previous year's question papers and you have clubbed it into different segments, right? For example, you have learned about the temples and you have categorized them into Nagara style. That means Northern Indian style. Vesara style, that means Deccan style, and Dravida style, that means Southern Indian style. You have prepared. Under the Nagara style, you have learned about the Gupta school. You have learned about the Eastern Bengal school. You have learned about the Odia school. You have learned about the Gujarat Rajasthan school. You have learned about, that means what? It is rather easy. You get that blank piece of paper. In our curriculum, we have designed a particular model, and also it is going to be successful with your help as well. Students, generally speaking, are a passive spectator, a passive recipient of the lectures. We'll try to also address this problem in the optional classes. For you will have the responsibility of analyzing these sites. There are certain Paleolithic sites. There are certain Paleolithic which are also Neolithic. Neolithic which are also Chalcolithic. So there are only a list of suppose 10 sites. You do not do it in one day. You do 2 sites or 3 sites a day, and you do it for the next year. Definitely with it can be also said that about 80 to 90, maybe with 100% accuracy, that you will be able to solve all the map pointings. That is directly 50 marks. That is a huge deal. Suppose there are questions regarding seaports, ancient seaports. Or suppose a clue there is that, for example, the French settlements and as a pointing in Eastern India. So it is rather easy that it is Odisha coast, it should be Balasore, French factory. For example, a French factory in Bengal region, it can be Chandan Nagar. If in the mainland Bengal region, it can be Kashim Bazar. It is not a very difficult job. You make a separate list for map pointings. For a list of ports, you identify Tondai, Mussoorie, Machilipatnam, all the kind of Surat, all the kind of lists. You have it in one place. And you do every day a small portion of your job. Also, the standard characteristics are rather same. there are standard characteristics of Paleolithic sites. If you can identify it as a Paleolithic site, you will write down the generic points. Suppose every point, every site, you have to write 5 or 6 lines. You can write down the general observations and certain 1 or 2 facts special to the site. You will be given the ideal marks. So thereby, 1, it is gone. You are left with 4 questions. Also understand what is the pattern. There are a total of 5 questions. That is of each will be a 50 marker. It can be 15, 15, 20. It can be 20, 20, 10 upon the discretion of the paper setter. That means roughly you have to prepare topics for 300 word plus. For every topic, if you have prepared for 300 plus words, you can bring it down to 150. For every topic, there is a generic pattern. How to score the ideal marks? You will be paying attention to the appendage, extension. Will mechanically train you how to look, what is to be looked at. What is discussion? What is discuss? What is elucidate? What is elaborate? What is critically examine? What to write and what not to write. Now see about the 5 questions. Already 1 question of map pointing done. That means you can focus mostly on ancient India. Some of you who are weak with medieval can choose 2 questions from medieval India and the 3 questions from ancient India. Thereby only focusing on the key topics preferred in your syllabus and solving the last 20 years. You will be able to solve 2 questions. That means 3 questions from ancient India and 2 questions from medieval India. For those students who are good with medieval India, choose it, you make it your expertise. You are accustomed to medieval India. You have done your share of research in the examination hall or you improvise. You solve 3 questions and another only 1 question is from ancient India. Map pointing you're doing separately. That is also a very healthy advice. You prepare your strategy with some leg room to be improvised in the examination hall. Maybe you're thinking 10-2 combination in the hall, you decide 3-2 combination in the hall, you decide 2-3 combination. Only map pointing is to be done and another question from ancient India. That is also a very good deal, good bargain, I believe, that you can let go of ancient India. These are strategies I would want you to recommend. These are going to be very helpful for your preparation process. Now understand where the students lack information. There is a question for suppose Akbar or suppose a question on feudal system. Here the students talk about in general what feudal system is. You, to get the ideal marks, have to quote historians. That means focus on historiography. You have to give the Bartenstein model. You have to refer to the model of segmentary state. It is a brief discussion with 2 names, basic facts and figures. You prepare the notes accordingly. And nothing will be going wrong. You will be given the ideal marks. If we do not quote the right historian, because history is not imaginary. It is a disciplinary subject. It needs strict contours. It is not imaginary. It cannot be mostly a reflected idea of the candidate. It is driven from ideas of the historians. It is not a difficult job. You offer, suppose you're preparing from Cholas. You prepare, suppose, the administration of the Cholas, the village administration, the local self-government, the maritime activity of the Cholas, and the element of art and culture. These are the topics. There is nothing beyond maritime activities, etc. You prepare for every topic. You maritime activity, you talk about sources. That is numismatic evidences, that is foreign accounts, that is archaeological evidences in India as well as outside. So here, once you prepared the sources, you talk about the developments and possibly 2 or 3 opinions about the historians. Your answer has to be ideal. You will be awarded the ideal marks. Now we think that we are rather disoriented because of our fear that it is bulky. For Mauryan, you want to prepare about the Mauryan state system. Again, you focus on sources. Sources are archaeological, sources are literary sources, Brahminical sources, not contemporary after that. Then there is Arthashastra. Then there is accounts of Megasthenes, certain reflections of Megasthenes, that is accounts of later historians, European historians who have quoted Megasthenes. Also, you talk about the archaeological evidences, that is edicts, that is stupas, so on and so forth. And you discuss elaborately about the state, and you talk about certain ideas and opinions about the different historians. Your answer has to be ideal. While preparing for them, it is not at all a difficult job. For suppose there is a question on religious practices of Akbar, or there is the Rajput policy of Akbar. You prepare about certain contemporary historians. What does Irfan Habib say? What does D.N. Jha say? What does Satish Chandra say? What does contemporary historians list? Again, while preparing the notes, there are only 4 lines that you have to prepare and mug them up. Trust me, it is an easy job. With repetition, you will get comfortable with it. And in the examination hall, there is going to be only one question on Mughal state system. You know that you have to present these ideas, or at least there is an important chapter regarding historiography. You know what the Marxist approach suggests, a historian and their views. You know what the subaltern view suggests, the historian and their respective views. So in this way, writing the answers and fetch the ideal marks, it is rather an extremely easy job. Sir, is it necessary to write the exact statement? Often, if you produce exact statement, you will be given more marks. An additional leverage of 1 to 2 marks for every question if I add. By the end of it, roughly for every part of the question, there are 3 subparts. If you add 3 marks for each question, that is 15 marks of difference, more than that. So I will recommend that, if not the statement verbatim, at least the reflected idea. The name and the idea should be a part of your answer. You will be given a lot of marks. You analyze this space, you analyze the time. Suppose there is a question on foreign accounts. It is not that the entire answer will be of historical facts and figures. It will be the continuous analysis of writings of Al-Masudi. It will be on Chachnama, it will be on Al-Biruni, it will be on Ibn Battuta, and so on, Abdul Razak, so on. It should be reflected, it should be in continuum. It should be relishing to the evaluator. At the same time, it will have an idea, a balance of facts and information. The balancing factor that you will learn, that is the purpose of your history optional. Again, coming to your second part, suppose your paper 2. You have modern India and your world history. Here, again, one approach can be, some students are very fascinated with world history. For them also, there can be a tool. There is also a basic advice for the students. You focus more on modern India as compared to world, because modern India has a direct relevance with your GS preparation. That means out of the 5 questions, you make the adjustment, 3 questions from modern India, 2 questions from world history. 5 questions are done. For some questions, some students who are already preparing for GS, they solve the previous year's question papers and read world history. For them, the combination will be 2, 3. Again, for questions of world history with 100% accuracy, it can be solved. With modern, it is very easy to answer. What you have to add for your GS preparation, you have already learned about the ideas. We'll give the proper shape to these ideas. Who gave the idea? Trust me, if you are not accustomed to the discipline of history, initially you will face some glitch. But with regularity, you will be well aware and competent in writing answers. Our program, as we have talked with the different authorities, we have a number of mentors. We will try to give individual attention to you. It will be an interactive class where your inputs will be also taken into account. There will be regular assignments, and by the way, the program is going to last for a while, probably about 6-7 months. And throughout the process, there will be individual attentions, the way answers should be written. There will be recurring corrections. And if you have a fleet of I believe that a limited number of people will be joining the history optional. So our entire purpose is to give individual attention. That will be the difference between the other organizations or something like that. There is no competition or comparison like that. But our intention is to give individual attention to the students. I will try to manage doubt clearing sessions, additional sessions that will give you some clarity. We'll take questions have different approaches of writing the same question. So in this way, we will try our best. And also for optional, I will be personally responsible for your growth. Also, we will make sure that we have solved all the previous year's question papers and also finished all the topics in your syllabus. So it will be very conscious attempt and you will be a direct participant of it. This is how we are planning on the history optional. I am not aware about how it will be, when it will be launched, but if I am not wrong, it will be launched very soon. We have certain additional demonstration lectures which will be designed soon. So in this way, we can carry forward. If you have any personal queries or doubts, you can please ask. Vanshika is asking, sir, I will be giving attempt in the exam 2026. So should I preparing for optional from now on or focus on? I would recommend, if you have decided you should be taking history as optional, you definitely start it from today. Taking optional, the syllabus for optional is with regard to your graduation subject. Your syllabus for GS is till 12th standard according to UPSC. Thereby, I would recommend if you're giving in 2026, you have ample time. For those who are appearing next year, it is also, you can take the optional, but I must be honest with you, the optional classes will go on. It is in my interest and for yours as well. We'll try to comprehensively cover the syllabus. We will take time. It is going to be a hybrid model. Sometimes I will be traveling, probably it will be offline, it will be online in this way. So it will last for a while. No matter how long we take, we will finish the entire curriculum within the syllabus. So individual attention, if the hours are also exceeded, it is on us. So in this way, right, Priya is asking, conduct a class on how to view syllabus systematically. All right, in the subsequent classes, in the demonstration, we'll try to arrange it. Manas is asking, sir, should we have to refer more books for optional? One and only one thing. Everything I will be personally responsible for. Whatever I'll be giving notes, I'll be giving additional reading material. I will be quoting textbooks. I have read almost all the popular important textbooks. I will also be quoting them, giving you reading materials, which will be a reflection of these notes. All you have to focus on is the classes and the handouts. If you want to read textbooks, I will give you advices for the same, but it will be comprehensively covered. That is one thing I can assure you. Any other doubts or queries? I believe this is as much as you need to know for your orientation. The initial mind always looks for hope, always looks for inspiration. So that is why I am here, to give you the confidence. If you think you can do it, you will definitely be ending up do it. This is the view of Confucius. The moment we feel like losing is the moment we are lost. If you have a love, passion for the subject, let me tell you, it is not a difficult job. It is a job of regularity. The more regular you are, every day 2 hours of job, sometimes maybe 1 hour and 1 hour of answer writing. If you make a conscious attempt, if you have willingness to grow, it is absolutely much easier than rest of the subjects. Again, I would hope from the bottom of my heart that you clear it in the next attempt. But often it happens that for some of the students, they clear it in the next and the next attempt. So again, changing of optional and adding of the supplementary notes creates some burden. Some of my students are also working professionals. They may be selected in the civil services and opt for a higher rank. For those students, history is the ideal solution. Once you prepare, re-preparing that will only depend on your static notes. You do not have to do anything else. These are the major perks of history as an optional, right? Sir, if anyone has self-doubt to choose optional, see, Kusum, the class is specifically designed for history optional. Here I am to convince you to take history as your optional. I must warn you that I am looking into the positive side of history as optional. But I must add the element that if something that you do not have interest to, it is something you never should be choosing. People often motivate the students regarding the popularity, interest of UPSC. It should not be the guiding force for choosing optional. It is your personal like for the subject. What I can assure that with accuracy, with efficiency, we will finish the subject. But what if you do not have any knack for the subject? Then it will backfire, don't you think? So I should choose advise otherwise, right? Vanshika, I'm convinced already. All right. Acha. Rotvik is writing, sir, please take a session on discussion on this year history optional paper. We will not in this, after we have started the optional batch, we will. In our planning, we have tried to, it will be in my prerogative to solve every question paper in the previous years. I will attempt to at least 20 years. My goal is to cover the last 30 or 35 years. That will be on me, definitely. The entire topic of this mentioned the syllabus, covering certain textbooks and the previous year's question papers. We will all comprehensively cover them. Don't worry. And Rutvik, I do not know if you are my regular student or not. You can check the answers I have given. It is in the website probably regarding this year's GS questions. You will have a general idea how the answers are written. All right. Zay was writing, I was not sure what optional to choose. All right. All right. It is there. Some students may find my method of teaching helpful. For them, it is easier. I will generally prefer a technical model, a systematic disciplinary study. And also with your contribution, with you putting your effort, we will try to ensure the highest marks. That is our promise, our commitment to quality education. Right? सर आप हिंदी मीडियम को भी पढ़ाओगे बेटा, मेरी वो हैसियत नहीं है. I lack the necessary skills. If I do not know how to do justice with a subject, so I generally do not take it. Hindi bhasha jo hai, that is a beautiful language. I sincerely believe I cannot do justice with it. So that is my limitation. Unfortunately, I cannot. Right? Any other queries? Any other doubts you would like to have clarified? Please tell about how to practice and answer writing process. Not here. Here we are learning about only the orientation. With the passage of time, we will specifically, because it is not the lectures that will make you a civil servant or get highest marks. It is the answers to the questions. We have to primarily, precisely focus on answer writing. We'll do that. Right? So that is it for today. All the very best. And whatever you do, you will definitely be taking the right decision. Right? That's it. Good day, ladies and gentlemen.